Your wish is my command. This is a story about a lady named June who stumbled upon a magic genie lamp when she needed it the most. Let this story inspire you and entertain you as you take a moment out of your day to relax. June was a lady that you probably have all seen at one time or another in your life. She's that lady behind you in line at the grocery store who quietly waits patiently as she tries not to fall for any of the impulse buys at the counter. She's also the nice lady you saw the last time you went to the post office, and as she was coming out, she saw you and waited for you so she could hold the door for you. She's also the lady who lives down the street, who lives alone, that you rarely see except for when she comes home from work a little after 7 p.m. on the weekdays. Seems like your average lady, but maybe a little nicer than average actually. She never causes a fuss, is always polite, and shares a smile anytime you make eye contact with her. But if you actually knew June, you would find out that life hadn't always been as kind to her as she had been to it. She was an only child, and her parents had both since passed on. She never married or had children of her own, so she often feels very much alone in this world. Of course, being such a sweet and kind person, she has always had lots of friends in her life, so she's never really alone. She also has a fondness for all types of animals and has a dog named Rufus, a cat named Marmalade, a hamster named Chewy, and a bird named Stella. But recently, one of her favorite cats, Mr. Snuggles, passed away, which has been a difficult thing to get through. She also found out that the company she has worked for 25 years is downsizing, and she will likely be laid off in the coming months. And if all that wasn't enough to make life tough, the day after Mr. Snuggles died, she found out that she has a rare disease that will cause her to lose her hearing and her sight probably over the span of the next 10 years or so. So June has a lot of changes coming her way that she wouldn't wish for in a million years. But June always manages to keep a good attitude and tries to live for today, focusing on the things that make her happy and being appreciative for all of her blessings. So in true June fashion, Saturday morning rolled around and she decided to go on an early morning yard sale extravaganza. That always brings her joy. So that morning, she got up extra early, fed all the animals, drank her daily cup of coffee, and headed out for an adventure. She went to 3 yard sales that were in her neighborhood that she was able to walk to. She found a cool old quilt that she knew was just meant for her bed, a set of silverware with cats on the handles, and an old wooden Monopoly game that will be the perfect birthday present for her friend Martha. As she was leaving the last sale, an old man came up to her and told her,
"There is a special estate sale going on this morning at the old Yates house downtown, and it hasn't been advertised. So if you can make it, you will surely have the pick of all the treasures."
The old Yates house downtown was a mansion that had been there for over 200 years and was home to one of the wealthiest families in the area. The last of the Yates recently decided to sell the old home place and is moving out to California. So this is a rare opportunity to see what they're leaving behind. June can't pass this up, so she scurries back home, drops off her new finds, jumps in the car, and heads downtown to the Yates house. There were only 2 cars there. Was this man right? Were they really having an estate sale? She got out of her car, slowly walked towards the house in apprehension, and all of a sudden, a young woman opened the door and yelled out to her,
"Finally, you're here. We've been waiting for you. You'll want to check out the items on the table in the study down the back hall."
June was confused but intrigued, and so she thanked the woman and made her way to the study. As soon as she walked in, she noticed the room was basically empty, but there was a table up against the back wall that had some trinkets on it. One in particular stood out to her, and without even hardly looking at it, or even looking at any of the other items on the table, she picked it up and went to find the woman to pay for it. It was a blue and gold oil lamp that was covered in dust. When she found the woman said,
"The somebody actually wants to finally take that old thing off my hands. Finally. Don't even worry about paying me for it. I'm just glad somebody wants it. Supposedly my great-great-grandfather found it on an exotic beach in Greece right before he moved to the United States and started his empire. Something about it being magic and creating the way for his wealth and legacy. I don't know. He was always telling tall tales. Anyway, thanks again for taking it off my hands.
June left in a stupor, confused about the whole situation. Why was there no one else there? Why did the woman say she had been waiting for her? And why did she have this dusty old oil lamp? Oh well, that was an interesting end to her yard sale adventure today for sure. So she went on home, fixed herself some lunch, and sat there eating her sandwich, wondering where she was going to put the old oil lamp. All of a sudden, Rufus came chasing Marmalade in the room at top speed. Marmalade made a giant leap to the table where June had set all of her new old treasures, landed on the quilt at such high speed that the quilt slid across the table, knocking the lamp to the floor. As the lamp crashed to the floor, the room filled with a pink smoke that smelled like cotton candy and marshmallows. When the smoke settled, there before her eyes stood a genie that had obviously emerged from the old oil lamp. June was too perplexed to be scared and just stood there looking at the genie, trying to make sense of it all. Rufus and Marmalade were also in a daze, staring at the genie. Finally, the genie spoke and said,
I am your very own special genie, and I am here to grant your wish. Thank you for freeing me from my lamp. I've been in there for quite some time and was wondering if I would ever get back out. Once I grant your wish, I am set to be freed from my time imprisoned in the lamp. I was sentenced to grant 50 wishes, and the 49th wish was for Old Man Yates, who wished for a grand empire that would bring him riches beyond anything he'd ever known. Now it is your turn. What do you wish for?
Once June was able to process what the genie had told her, she began to think, is this for real? A genie is in front of me wanting to grant me a wish? Wishes are for fairy tales, and my life certainly doesn't qualify as a fairy tale. Before she could continue running with her thoughts, the genie interrupted and said,
Okay, I get it. You probably don't believe in wishes. But do you believe in dreams? Do you have any dreams for your life? Dreams and wishes are closely related. So perhaps you could just tell me one of your dreams and I can make that dream come true for you.
June thought for a moment, and certainly she had dreams for her life, although she didn't give much weight to her dreams coming true either. After all, they're dreams. Aren't dreams just dreams? As if the genie could read her mind, he spoke up again, saying,
Dreams do come true, you know, all of the time. All it takes is a little faith, and before you know it, there you are, living your dream.
June decided to give this genie the benefit of the doubt and allowed herself to believe for a moment that this was all true. The genie was really real, and everything he was saying was real. If he had really been locked up in that lamp for so long, it seemed the least she could do was make a wish to free him. Then the genie interrupted her thoughts again and told her that she only has another 10 minutes to come up with something, or the genie would be sucked back into the lamp until someone else was lucky enough to find him. June was alarmed and became nervous about needing to come up with something quick. So she thought about her life and how she felt alone in the world at times. Maybe she should wish for a mate, someone she could spend her life with and share her laughter and joys with. But then she thought about how sad she had been when Mr. Snuggles died and how she never wanted to feel that sadness again. Maybe she should wish that Rufus, Marmalade, Chewy, and Stella would never die, so she could always have them in her life. But then she thought about her job and how it's in jeopardy with the company downsizing and all. And if she doesn't have a job, it won't matter if her animals never die because she won't be able to afford to keep them. Maybe she should wish for her job to promote her to a position that would be so integral to their operation they could never fire her. But then she thought about her recent diagnosis with that rare disease that is going to cause her to lose her sight and her hearing over the next 10 years. She won't be able to work if that happens, so she'd lose her job and her animals eventually. Maybe she should wish for a cure for her disease. Oh my, why was this so complicated, she wondered. Time is running out. She's got to decide something. So all of a sudden, without even thinking, she blurted out, I wish for a friend that could find a cure for my disease, keep me company for the rest of my days, who could somehow make my animals live forever, and would hire me as their assistant so I can afford to keep my lifestyle as it is right now. As soon as it came out of her mouth, she wondered if it was more than one wish. And at that very moment, the genie started to spin faster and faster like a tornado, right there in June's living room. There was a loud sound like angels singing, and then a loud thud. And there in front of her, where the genie had stood, was a nice-looking man with a warm smile who said,
Thank you for freeing me from that lamp and bringing me into your life. I've been waiting my entire life for this moment where I can finally be with you. I am your kindred spirit, Frederick. It just so happens that I am a scientist and I can absolutely find a cure for your disease. But I will need an assistant to make it happen. Will you be my assistant?
June looked into Frederick's eyes and knew that she had known him from the time before time existed. He was definitely her kindred spirit. How complete she felt at that very moment. As she gazed at Frederick, it occurred to her, kindred spirits. Those spirits that belonged together from before time began and would be together for long after it ended. What a comforting reality. And as she had this revelation, all of her animals made their way over to her, and she looked down at them and realized that they too were her kindred spirits, which means that Mr. Snuggles was her kindred spirit too. Not time nor space could keep her from her kindred spirits. They were a part of her, now until forever. So it seemed this magical encounter with the genie, who granted her her wish by becoming Frederick, had given her all she could ever wish for and more. He was going to cure her disease with her help as an assistant, which means that if she ever should lose her job, she would be fine and she would be able to afford her lifestyle and her animals. And probably the most important thing of all was that she had gained the new perspective of being connected to kindred spirits now and forever. Meaning the animals she loved so dearly would always be with her, and that she would never be alone. And maybe even more important than all of that, she learned that allowing herself to have wishes and dreams and allowing herself to believe that they could come true made it all possible. After all, a wish is the beginning of a dream, and a dream is a new reality not yet born. But with an optimistic mindset, some faith and belief, and the courage to take baby steps towards your dream, the universe becomes the genie that will grant your wish. So keep wishing and dreaming and taking baby steps to create your desired reality. Wishes do come true.